You know, the person that you are today is different than the person you were yesterday. And it's different than the person you're going to be tomorrow, or even 5 minutes from now. Moment to moment, you change. And it's interesting because people will still hold you to a specific standard. And so one moment to the next, you may change, but they may think it's kind of strange that you're changing, right? Because one moment you may feel like, I'm actually feeling like super happy, super excited. The next moment you're like, maybe not so much, right? And that comes through in your voice, that comes through in your body language. And so if you're thinking like you constantly need to be somebody just because of the way you showed up the previous day or the previous moment, now you're not really being authentic. So what does authenticity really mean? It means being who you truly are in the moment. You see, who you are right now is different, like I said, than just 5 minutes ago, right? Who you are right now is literally just feeling exactly who you are without any judgment on who you are, just living in the present moment. And when you do that, you will come across authentic because you're not thinking about how other people might perceive you or even how you perceive yourself in this moment. You see, because what's interesting is even say as I'm speaking right now, I could be having judgment on myself, not so much as like how other people might perceive me, but the judgment is coming from how I'm perceiving me in this moment. But you know what's interesting? After this video is recorded, I could reflect on this video and watch it again, right? So I'm like reviewing the video and I'm scrubbing through, I could be watching it in its entirety and I start to see the way that I'm speaking. And as I'm seeing it, I may think differently about the way that I'm speaking than I do right now in this moment. It's still me in this moment. It's still me saying these exact same words. It's still me looking this particular way. But my judgment on myself can be different from one moment to the next. So what I'm saying is that it doesn't really matter what your judgment is of yourself or of other people or what they feel about you, because it doesn't determine who you actually are. Who you are in the moment is who you are when you're not judging yourself, when you're completely mindful, when you're in the present moment, and when you're living for the present moment. And the best way to actually do that so that it comes more naturally and where judgments and criticisms come less often to you is when you meditate. Meditation is single-handedly the best way that I have found to start getting rid of these kind of negative talks. The negative talk that will naturally just come into your mind. And if this happens to you like over and over again, like quite often, it's probably because you haven't practiced meditation. Now, if you've never done meditation before, or maybe you have, but you felt like it didn't quite work, I'm telling you that if you just practice it each day, you will get better. It's a skill. You can literally level up in this skill. So the way meditation works, I'm just going to explain it simply because I feel like I could make an entire video on how to actually meditate properly. But the concept of meditation is simply letting yourself be in the moment. And that means being completely still, usually closing your eyes, sitting down. You close your eyes and you just breathe and you focus on the breath. As you focus on the breath, thoughts will come into your mind. It's natural. See, this is where most people think that something's going wrong, that it's not actually working for them. But see, the thoughts are meant to come up. Thoughts will come up. It's literally impossible not to have thoughts. But the more that you meditate, the less the thoughts will come, the less frequent they'll come, the less negative they'll often become as well. So the thought comes, well, what do? Well, you don't get attached to the thought because you realize it's just a thought. It's just like clouds in the sky. Right now we got complete overcast, but you can imagine like a cloud. It goes by. If I see the cloud, I'm objectively looking at it. There's a cloud. But I don't get attached to it thinking like I am the cloud. It doesn't make sense, right? You aren't the thought. The thought is just there within your consciousness. And you let it pass by, just like a cloud would drift by in the sky. Then you get back to the breath and you keep breathing. And as you keep breathing, guess what's going to happen? Another thought is going to come up. And when that thought comes up, you do the same thing. And it's this cycle. And you just keep going between having the thought and then going back to the breath. The key is just recognizing when the thought comes up, when it does, being objective about it, letting it pass, and then going back to the breath. Now, that's a simple explanation of how meditation works, but it's something that you can absolutely get started with right now. Like, I would encourage you, if you haven't done this before, or if maybe it's been a long time since you've done it, you could literally pause the video right now and try it for yourself. You could literally sit down on the floor, start breathing, focusing on the breath, close your eyes, and just enjoy being in the present moment. Just start out with something small, like 3 minutes. And you can work your way up. Because it's not so much about the amount of time you do it. It's just the fact that you're doing it. 3 minutes, or even like 10 seconds, is more than you were doing before. And you'll see an improvement. So, give it a try, and I hope that this was helpful to you.